right, guys, welcome. This is Fight Promoter University. We're going to try something different. We're going to start doing a little bit more videos as opposed to the email, one-on-one mentoring, etc., to talk to some of you about some questions. So I'm going to touch on a lot of the business side of the fight game, mostly boxing and MMA. But yeah, we're going to talk like fans, but we're going to be talking about if you were going to get into the industry, what would you be doing? So the biggest thing on my mind right now, and probably everyone else's, at least in the boxing world, was the DAZN card over the weekend, which had Ryan Garcia see his first test against Luke Campbell. Exciting, man. That was his first test, so it was really nice to see him get dropped. Well, not nice to see him get dropped, but to see him react to getting dropped in a positive way. So now the question is, what is his next step? Of course, Ryan Garcia has, next to Tank Davis, probably the most clout in the industry right now, or in the weight class right now. So really, who are his realistic opponents? He just took out Luke Campbell more impressively than Vasyl Lomachenko did, more impressive than a couple other guys. So if I'm his manager, just speaking from the business perspective, like I said, if I'm his manager, who am I going to want to match him up with? So there's a lot of things to consider here. It's not just who we think he'll beat. It's not just how much money he'll make. It's all of those things. It's not just who's going to raise his profile. It's all of those things together. I know Devin Haney wants that fight so bad, and I don't blame him. Garcia showed that he is not invincible. He doesn't look like a killer. He's good, but I think there is some things that he needs to work on. So Devin Haney rightfully is trying to get that, because you see this in all those sports. So in all combat sports, for instance, Jorge Masvidal was mostly a journeyman until he knocked out Darren Till and then Ben Askren. And what he did was he took that shine, he took that star power by beating them in impressive fashion. He took that star power for himself. Then he parlayed that into a big fight with Nate Diaz, who's a star in his own right, and then a title shot against Kamaru Usman. And now he's making huge 7-figure paydays when he fights. So there's all those things to consider. Now, again, if he got beat by Darren Till, he got dropped, if you remember, well, then none of this happens for him. So who should Ryan Garcia fight? In my opinion, he should fight Tank Davis. Tank has yet to fight a big 135-pound world champion level opponent. Santa Cruz was more of a 130-pounder, but he looked impressive. But he's hittable too. So how will those line up with Garcia hits him? Not to mention Tank is the leader of the division in terms of his star power until last Saturday night, in my opinion. He's making the most money. He's being managed by the right team, Mayweather Promotions, Leonard Ellerby. So, yeah, it's just my opinion, but I think Tank is the biggest fight. If he loses, he could still go on and fight Devin Haney. He could still go on and fight Vasyl Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. And by the way, I don't mean that as disrespect to Teofimo Lopez. I actually, in my opinion, think he's the most talented in the division and may end up being the one that comes out of this, the 135-pound weight class, after beating everybody. But I think that I don't think Ryan Garcia is ready for Teofimo. He just beat the brakes off of Vasyl Lomachenko. So, I just don't think I don't think you go from Luke Campbell, your first step up, to that, A-B level competition to Lopez. I just don't see it. Now, here's why I say don't go Devin Haney before Tank. Devin Haney is a killer, man. He can box, but he's such a nice guy that he doesn't really have the star power yet. He'll get it if he keeps beating the right people, but he's such a humble guy. You saw after the fight card, Garcia and Devin Haney met up in the front row, and we're just kind of fake jawing at each other, but more or less showing respect, which I love that. I love that it's not all for show. And I mean, they do respect each other, and that's great. However, if I'm Devin Haney's manager, I'm telling him to put that aside for the next 12 to 24 months and start pulling publicity stunts, showing up. He missed his opportunity, in my opinion. He should have talked all kinds of trash, either in the ring or when they met up just outside the ring after the fight when they were face to face, him and Garcia. So I think Devin Haney needs a little work in that realm of promoting himself, but he's a real talent. And if Garcia loses to him, you know, he's got the upper hand, Ryan Garcia. He doesn't have a belt yet, but he's got the upper hand in negotiations. So with that said, give me Ryan Garcia against Tank Davis. I think it's the right fight for both of them. I think Tank's people will want it because they see that Garcia is hittable. I think Garcia's people want it because Tank is hittable. And may the best man win. And then Teofimo and Devin Haney, you know, I know champions don't always fight champions. It doesn't work that way. But I would love to see those two go together, or at least Vasyl Lomachenko somewhere in there. But anyway, so I think that's the right move for the division. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think this is the current 135-pound division is what the welterweight division was about 10 or 15 years ago when they had Mayweather, Pacquiao, Cotto, Mosley. There was a lot of talent in that division, and this is exactly it. Just all right now, the 135, just now all young 20-year-old kids. With lots of star power, lots of money, lots of talent, and I'm interested to see where it goes. So if I'm Ryan Garcia's manager, I want Tank. If I'm Tank's manager, I want Ryan Garcia. And Haney might be the odd man out, but he could easily go and fight Lopez or Vasyl Lomachenko. So we could have a sort of tournament, if you will. But that's how I see it. If I'm their manager, that's what I do. And the same with the promoter. If you're the promoter, you want the two biggest stars you can possibly get fighting each other. So again, I think the same thing applies. I think that the biggest fight is that Garcia and Tank Davis. So let's get it together, boxing, man. You guys are they're on the upswing right now. Lots of exciting stuff. So let's get it. Go win, Ryan Garcia.